In COP26, which was hosted in Glasgow, my home city in Scotland, we were the first government, the Scottish government, in the global north to commit money to loss and damages. And we said to the rest of the world, you have to fund loss and damage because the global north is causing the problem, but the global south is suffering from the problem. So what we have to do is put our money in our pocket. And we've been calling for this for years and years, and I'm pleased that in the opening days of COP28, there's been agreement on mobilisation and capitalisation of loss and damage. Now the challenge is to make sure that money gets out of the door and in a fair and equitable way that doesn't add to the debt burden that so many countries in the global south are already facing. First and foremost, we have to listen to the global south. We can't tell them what we're going to do, we have to listen to them. What are their needs? What do they need help with? How do we help with adaptation, with mitigation, and then of course with loss and damage? But most importantly on equity is making sure that we do not increase the debt burden by giving loans, for example, at high interest rates, not increasing the debt burden, but making sure that we do that in a fair and equitable way. So grants, I think, are the way to go as opposed to high interest loans. Remember, Scotland is an oil and gas capital of Europe and has been for many decades. Many people who work in the Gulf, many of them worked in Aberdeen in the northeast of Scotland. So our workers in Aberdeen, our workers in the northeast of Scotland, they're skilled, they're experts in their field. So what I mean by a just transition is we have to accelerate that transition to net zero, but do it in a fair way that takes the workers with us. There's nothing just about a transition that ends up making tens of thousands of people unemployed. At the same time, it has to be done with pace. That's why the Scottish Government has put £500 million towards a just transition fund, and we'll do that over the next decade because we have to make sure we're taking the workers with us, but make sure we transition and be honest with the world that we have to phase out fossil fuels and of course unleash the huge potential of renewable technology. GCC has a crucial role to play, not just of course of Dubai and the government of the United Arab Emirates hosting COP. That in itself is very important. But every single country, like Scotland, that is a producer of oil and gas, we have to make sure we're ambitious in the transition to net zero and that we are saying unequivocally that we have to phase out fossil fuels. All of the academia, all of the research, all of the data is telling us you cannot keep within 1.5 degrees unless you have a just transition away from fossil fuels. Although the planet is telling us the damage we are doing to it. So the first couple of days have been a success, I think, with the agreement on loss and damage. We now have to see agreement and ambition around the phasing out and a just transition from fossil fuels.